say your longest drought is between something that you were convinced what was legitimate evidence to the next time you found something you thought was legitimate evidence?
Um,
Because you're out doing it a lot. I don't think any short
right.
answer is bad or any long answer is good necessarily, or vice versa. But like,
It's tough because, when we do a residential case is so different, than a public investigation. Public investigations, we go out, have fun, we try a lot of different things, and we normally will get something because it depends. Like when we do a public investigation somewhere, we may have 6 team members, we might have 4 or 5 team members from another team that we work with, War Party Paranormal, and we have a lot of people doing many different things. So you're more likely sometimes to get something, but um, real clear evidence, it's tough. I mean, sometimes we get something almost every one on a public. We might get something that we really feel was
okay.
something good. You know, in a residential home, it's different because we're using some of our psychics that are even going in remotely, through Zoom when we're talking to them, and they can see things and clear stuff out before we even have to go there. So it's different. It's different how we do it.
So to go back to the book you also wrote another book that is published this year, Paranormal Investigation Case Log, where people can write down the information and keep logs and notes. I'm fascinated
Yeah,
by this book. I've never seen anything like that or heard of it. Again, I'm not necessarily in the world all the time. Can you tell us about it and why
yeah.
did you create this?
So there are a few out there I think I have seen here and there. I haven't even announced it. I mean, it's up there and it's live. I never even put it up because I've been working with this book. What I did was I took most of the papers. Like when we do a case, we have documents that we fill out to keep all the records for the case. So I took as much of that as I could take, without making it specific to like a residential case.
Right.
So it could be residential, it could be public. And I put it into the book and I made it to where there's 10 throughout the book. So if you buy this book, you can log your cases, whether it's going on a ghost tour, whether it's going to, the local cemetery, or whether you're going into somebody's home. It has kind of like a guide. It has things about the history of the location, and it gives you place to write up all the history. It has things like checking off the moon phases and the temperature and the humidity and the things that we use to try to do actual research. So like I said, even if you're a person who just goes on a lot of ghost hunts or ghost tours, if you take this with you, you could write down all your
Oh, I like
information
that.
and keep it. Yeah, and there's
I like that for
enough for
ghost
10.
tours.
Yeah.
They should. Key West would be a great place to have this book in a stand in a gift
So
shop
this
because
is
all the
something.
ghost tours, New Orleans.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be
Yes.
great. I never even thought about that. Like, you don't have to be a full time investigator to actually use this book. If you're going on ghost tours, if you're like anywhere, like I know people vacation like not year round, but
Right.
every yearly vacation is a ghost tour of some sort, and they might not be investigators; they're just curious. This would be a great
Exactly.
keepsake for that. A great scrapbook. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I think I
Thank
might
you.
get it because when I go to Key West next time, I'm going to go see Robert, and we're going to see. My wife won't go. I'm going to go see Robert's, and hopefully, maybe even get to hang out with you a little bit. So,
Yeah.
when it comes to evidence collection, you got me thinking here. Um, Annabella's collected evidence. Robert, not so much. Robert was with him forever, pretty a long time. Like it's not
It,
something taken. Have you taken evidence, and what do you do if you do? Like if there's something that's channeling something that should be removed from the scene, what happens with those things?
it depends on what it is. I mean, it's sometimes it can be given. Most of the time, it's given. If it's something that we know, we might dispose of it in the way we know how to, or it could be given to somebody who collects and takes care of items. I'm pretty sure like people send stuff to John Zaffis, and there's different people, or they donate it to museums. Like if you go to the for East Fort Montello Museum where Robert is, there's a lot of items in there that were donated. And Robert was donated
Okay,
to the museum, by not by the original family, by the lady who bought the thing, Myrtle Reuter, and
okay,
she bought the house, and then she became attached to the doll, and she loved the doll, and then the doll did something to her, pushed her into a room, closed the door, and held the door closed, and she brought it to the museum and said, "I don't want this doll. It's haunted. You got to take it." So people will go to museums or people they know collect.
okay. Okay. I was just curious, like, do you recommend, I mean, obviously you recommend only somebody who knows what they're doing even touch
Yes.
an object like that, but yes. Which brings me to a kind of another question that Zaz had brought up before you joined us. Zaz, if you want to pop on the screen, I'll ask it, but you're Catholic and you know the Vatican archive. Do you know of any artifacts that might be there? Is there anything there that you would like to be that you have interest in or have heard anything interesting about?
I mean, that's pretty good kept secrets there. I would love to get in there. I was in Italy about 3 years ago. We were in Rome, and before we went, I tried everything, contacting every person I could over there to get in to talk to some of the exorcists or into anything, and I didn't get anything back. It's a tough thing to get into there. It really is. They're very very closed off secrets.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody will ever know. you know.
Yeah, I'm not even like Dan Brown painted a good picture, but I would just like to even see the room, even if they didn't let me touch anything. Like, just like, how far is this? How deep is it? Like, just give me a sense.
Well, Father Amorth, I mean, the records because they're going to keep massive records of every case. So Father Amorth, the amount of cases that guy did, I can't even imagine what's in there. I would love to get in there. I would read a few of those.
Yeah. Zaz, did you have anything else you wanted to throw on that? Or
no? I mean, it's just one of those things, reading about as a kid. It's you kind of hear those things and that there's always, I think we say, here's what you know, and it's like think of the earth, and it's like the thin crust of things that you know, and obviously there's a big old fat layer below that you don't know. And that's kind of the frustrating / fascinating, curious part about it is we do know they have a place, they put these things, and there's got to be a layer below that as well. And knowing that they've interacted in such a way where they said, yeah, actually we do partake in these rituals and whatnot. We've actually taken it. Like, you can't be the only person to take some evidence from a scene, right? Yeah. And these guys are very high level, you know what I mean? So it's fascinating. And eventually maybe that stuff might come out, maybe it won't, but it's always nice to say, hey, what did you hear?
Right. Well,
I really like the idea of the Vatican having its own Warehouse 13.
Yes.
I would love to know how deep that goes down in the Vatican. There's got to be some serious vaults down there. I like what was the movie? The Pope's Exorcist. That was the one with that was about Father Amorth. From what I understand, that was taken from an actual case of his. I don't know if that's totally true, but they were talking about doing more of those, pulling more cases of his. So I don't know if they're allowed to pull real cases or where they're getting the information from. I don't know. I would love to find that out too. I don't know.
I think we have another freeze here, and we weren't even talking about the objects we
church. This time
we're talking about the Vatican.
Yeah. So
there you are. Welcome back.
Okay.
I never thought the Vatican would do this to us. Who wrote this next quote? We have somebody wanted to ask a question about John Constantine.
Oh, that was me. It was more along the line of, it was going into, you were talking about, who would win in a fight. And I was like, screw it. Let's just get weird with it. Which John Constantine, Matt Ryan or Keanu Reeves? I mean, let's go.
I don't know. I'd have to go Keanu.
Yeah. I mean, yes, 10 out of 10 agree. Sorry.
Now I'll tell you this. If you want to talk about shows, I don't know if I said this last time we're on. If you want to talk about shows, a lot of people ask me, like, what movie or what show, what do you think was the most realistic to something you do? Watch the TV show Evil.
Yes.
If
my God.
If you haven't watched Evil, that is what we do. That I'm so mad that they took that show off the air because it was so real. Of course, when they start playing with the demons and stuff, it's a little, they have the demons are a little weird looking and whatever, but they have a priest, a forensic psychologist, and a tech guy. And the three of them are put out by the church to go assess demonic cases.
Okay, yeah, I do remember
angels.
this. Yeah.
Hey, froze again?
No, you're good.
I'm good. Demonic cases, angels, miracles, all things like that to assess what they are. And most of the time, they're nothing. They're not real, so it's a very real show, and the way they
Yep.
do it and the way they actually like debunk things and everything is actually really amazing, and it's more what we do. I was amazed by that show.
That's really cool. The way you describe it, at least in a partial, I don't know if you ever watched Project Blue Book when you were younger. It kind of followed.
No, I
It seemed like it
didn't.
followed that. It was UFO investigators, Air Force guys that would go
Okay.
out and investigate. But
Right.
what I remember, and it's been forever, like a lot of episodes didn't have a resolution, or they just had oh, that was a weather balloon, and they explain it and they show how they get the evidence
Right.
and how all these things matter. And that's why I like this. Again, I could be completely misremembering it. It's been since I was the 70s since I've seen this, I think.
Right.
But that's kind of this, I now I'm very interested in seeing Evil, right?
Yeah, Evil.
Yeah, Evil. Oh, Evil's fascinating. Yeah, it's
Right.
and just because, like you said, it has a little bit of like Asif Manvi plays like that tech guy, and he introduces like a layer that of like skepticism. I
Big
believe,
time.
and correct me if I'm wrong, he's atheist, I believe,
Yes.
and it's Michael Coltier plays the priest. He has his own challenges that he deals with, and the way the demons are portrayed aren't like just straight evil creatures. They do some psychological stuff too, and they're kind of twisted in their own right. But there's this overarching like capitalist like demon type. Michael Emerson plays them just brilliantly.
You have
Just
seen the
brilliant.
It's a great
Just
show. The nun.
Wonderful bad
The
guy.
nun is the
The
best.
nun,
The nun
she's
is
the main
best
character. Yes.
I love her.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Fascinating show.
You talked me into it, guys. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Well, I wanted to say one other thing when you were talking about like with the equipment and stuff, because there was something that just happened recently. So I work with a tour down here in Davie, Florida at Flamingo Gardens. It's a little zoo, and they do monthly ghost tours now. And they have me come in as like the celebrity, investigator, and some of my team members actually run the tour and everything. So when we were down there, I was telling them about. Do you guys know what a REM pod is? A REM pod is it's a round device, has a bunch of lights, has an antenna, and it creates an electromagnetic field around it. So when you tell the spirits to go toward it, they have to break the field and the lights go off. So this is one of the examples. We told people, I said, we learned now as a tech guy, I know what it does. If you bang on the floor hard, sometimes it could go off because it's very sensitive, but you really have to break the field to get it to really go off. But we found out if you push the talk button on a walkie-talkie, most of the time it will actually set the devices off. And I was telling them about that when we were inside the Ray home, which is on the property. And I had a lot of devices set up there, and somebody had a walkie-talkie on them that worked there. And I said, "Oh, let's see." And I pushed a button, and 3 devices started going off. So That's what I'm talking about. It's like teaching them how look for this stuff,
Yeah. And it goes down to as simple as, do you remember the old days of cell phones near your computer monitor?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You'd make a noise on the monitor, and then your phone would ring. You could pretend to be a genius. Oh, my phone's about to ring. That's how
I used to be old school. We used to take bells on a string and hang them on the cabinet doors and put flour on the cabinets and things like that. Back in the day before a lot of the tech stuff came out.
Yep.
Wow,
yeah.
What was it? Was it Amazing Randy who was the guy who would debunk some things like that? That sounds
Randy,
very Amazing Randy.
Yes.
Yeah, Amazing Randy has destroyed people.
Yes.
But he was always sincere, and I don't think he ever was mean about it. That's the one thing I never. The Amazing Randy always got to me. Like he was very no bullshit. This is where I'm at. But he would treat even somebody who was clearly just scamming somebody for money with respect. And usually, I've never seen him like step out and go, "You're get in their face" or anything. He's like, "Well, obviously you did that, and that's okay. But we know how you did it," and walk away.
They did portray that guy in Late Night with the Devil. They kind of did that situation, but things take a turn. Things get wacky. It's Amazing Randy. That was a fantastic one, but it was the Amazing Randy character was kind of smart, snarky, and fun.
Yes.
Have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. Treat each other well.